Hello everyone, it's 777. We're gonna get going in just a moment here. I do want to check out the Hobby King website just to make sure what they say on the website and what type of prop to use for this airplane. So if you guys don't know, I just did a live maiden up at Kite Hill, and I'm gonna be doing a live afterthoughts right here. I've driven home, kind of gotten an idea for what the airplane flies like, and I want to share my thoughts with you guys just to let you guys know. So we'll be up and running in just a moment. I'm gonna need to check the feed here as we go along just to make sure that it stays stable because I'm on a I'm on a wireless system that is not as fast as my LTE. So that out here as we go along. So we'll get started in just a moment here, guys. So guys, what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the information on the Hobby King website real quick, so I just want to make sure that I have the proper information as we're going along here. Excuse the country music in the background. Okay, guys, sorry for the wait. So let's just start off here. How's everyone going? How's everyone doing? If you guys are watching, can you make sure that the audio is okay? I've accidentally left the gain up on my last couple of recordings and it sounded terrible. I want to see what the gain sounds like here, if it's too quiet or not. So if you guys are watching right now, if you could do me a favor and just let me know whether my voice is loud enough or not. If not, I'll turn the gain back up on my microphone. I've been having microphone issues for a little while. All right, let's take a quick peek. Okay. All right. This is a pretty unstructured video that we're doing this morning. So I was able to made my Sidewinder this morning. Flew really great. So one of the big issues with this airplane is the prop, and they say to take this 50/50 prop. This is it's a 5.5 inch by 5.5 pitch prop, and they say to throw it away because it's not meant for this airplane. So what they recommend is a 5.5 by 5.45, so just like a half degree less pitch of this prop. And I know why now, because when you fly this at 100% full speed at its top speed, which is right around 106 miles an hour, it starts to flutter. And I will actually I'll post up later on. One of my buddies took a slow motion video of this, and basically the center section of the whole plane flutters up and down like almost like 5-6 inches, like 3 inches in each direction. So with a 5 by 4.5 prop, 5 by 4.5 prop, it should take care of that issue. Now, one of the other things that to talk about this airplane is that it's kind of marketed as a race prop, race wing. So, race wings are getting up to about maybe like 120 or so. So if you're gonna buy this strictly as a race wing, you may not want to go this route. It is really fast. At 106 miles an hour, this thing was cooking, especially up at Kite Hill, where everything looks faster because we're at the top of a hill and you can just fly it right past yourself really quick. So, so the guys up at Kite Hill were pretty impressed. It was just that last little bit when I hit full top speed is when it started to wash out and it started doing its wobbling thing. Um, Let me just talk about really quickly the flight handling characteristics of this thing, and let me just check the feed here. Just I want to make sure that you guys can actually hear me with this microphone. Sorry. Two Monster says it sounds good to me. Okay, so I'm gonna get this maybe a little bit closer, and that might help out with the sound. I have a 0 gain, then I have a plus 20 gain, and when I'm plus 20 and I'm too close, it just sounds terrible. So I'm still working with this Rode mic. I usually use a different mic. So um, there is a lot to like about this airplane. So as I was driving home, I was thinking about it. Okay, it's got the flutter issue, and you can dial that back by putting a different prop on, or even just limiting your throttle to where it never hits that shuddering effect. So that's something that can be mitigated, right? So you don't have to fly it at 106 miles an hour. Maybe at 100 miles an hour it'll be perfectly stable. It's just that you can't really go past that. But the flying characteristics of this R is like when I was banking it around and hitting full throttle and everything. A lot of wings, what'll happen is that you hit full throttle and it'll immediately dip down a little bit and then come back up, or you'll hit full throttle and it'll make the plane balloon up, and those type of characteristics. This airplane had none of that whatsoever. It was dead straight and very, very fast in a straight line. Also, in a corner as well. The one thing I noticed is that when I was cornering, it would be completely up on its edge like this, and I'd be cornering it. Some airplanes that are maybe a little less efficient and less slippery in the air will actually you'll put it up on its edge like this, and it'll begin to fall in this direction. This had none of that at all. Once you laid it on its wingtip, it just stayed there really, really well. So in that respect, the flight characteristics of this wing are very, very nice. And I understand that this airplane was designed by Stuart Warren, from he's the main engineer for designing these airplanes. I think he did a fantastic job. I'm using these the uprights here, the vertical stabs, and the lower ones here. I'm using the smaller version, and I didn't have any waggle at all, and just no bobble from hitting the throttle there. So the flight characteristics are really nice, and this is for being something that's plug and play, it's pretty awesome. Okay, so the other flight characteristics were okay. So we had the throttle. It doesn't go up or down, and when you're in a turn, it doesn't fall out of its turns. The one thing I always do with all my airplanes, and I love doing this, I don't know why, but I'll make it go straight up, and I'll basically let off the throttle till it stalls out, and I forget, I don't even know what this is called, but I let it, maybe it's a tail slide. You let it slide backwards until it basically flips around really, really fast, and then starts to go back down. This airplane, I did that several times with it, and it actually got into a little bit of an induced stall where that's what the maneuver is. Normally it just flies right out of it. This one would kind of come back, and it would start to go around in a little bit of a tip stall, and as soon as I got a little bit of speed under its wings, it recovered just fine. So I have a feeling that the super slow handling characteristics of this airplane are probably pretty darn good. Now, on my one landing in the weeds, it was a little bit fast, I have to admit. I did get a puncture right here. A stick went completely in here. I say that on the video, but I actually don't tilt my head down, so you can't really see it. And then I also got this little damage mark here. So one of my buddies, Jamie Bruxton, who also bought this airplane, he decided he would try to laminate this airplane to give it a little bit of extra strength before he even flew it. And he said, do not do that whatsoever, because the heat is going to warp this thin wing. So what I would suggest for a little bit of layered protection on the bottom here is just to take some 3M packing tape. I would start it back here, just maybe about midway through, let it layer over, and then on the leading edge, I would maybe wrap it around the leading edge and then come around here. I think if you were to add the packing tape, it might add a little bit of stiffness to the wing, and maybe it would not waggle so much, or waggle. I don't know how you're going to say that. Okay, my other thought about this as I was driving home, and what happened to my coffee? My coffee was right here. Hang on a second, guys. Wait, this one's not. Oh, it's right behind me. I've got like 3 coffee cups in here. So as I went to Starbucks and I got my coffee, and I was thinking about this airplane, I really, really like the way that this airplane is constructed. You can tell from every part of the airplane that it was very well thought out. the motor placement, the motor mount, the little magnets that are holding this battery bay closed. Just the way they have all the components laid out, it's definitely well thought out, and just the way they have the receiver bays and everything. The molding is really nice. Everything fits together really nice. I love the skid on the bottom here, so if I happen to land it on the runway, it's gonna be protected. It's got these hard plastic skids on the bottom, but everything's really nice. I appreciate the LEDs in the end of the wings, and I actually didn't think it would be anything that big of a deal, but on the cloudy morning that we had this morning, it was actually quite nice to see that those LEDs and also the LEDs that are in the very back here of the airplane. So, and this LED array here, you can change the color to whatever color you'd like, pretty much. So, that's that. And if you guys have any questions about this, if you didn't catch the maiden, it's up on my channel right now. If you do decide to buy this, there is a link in the description that will be in the description of this video that gives me extra points from Hobby King, so I can buy more airplanes for me to review for you guys. So I do like getting these airplanes in, getting kind of a first look at them. So yeah, so we talked about the prop. So you know, even though this is marketed as a race wing, and it maybe some critics might say it's not fast enough to be a race wing, 106 miles an hour is not bad. I'll be happy at 100 miles an hour. It's going to be very similar to the EFX Racer. So I don't think this is going to be any type of a winner on the race circuit, because this is what we would describe as a one and done type of airplane. You crash it hard once and it's pretty much throw away the airframe, maybe just move your electronics over to another airframe. But it is designed well, but just, you know, it's not going to be as durable as an EPP model. Speaking of an EPP model, here's my Hardcore 44. Let's see about the wingspan. Wingspan is exactly the same. So this is an airplane that goes about the same speed. I think I had this one clocked at 98 miles an hour. So within a few miles an hour of this airplane, this one has no wobble effect from the wing. I'll say though that this wing is just much lighter because we're running like a 5200 milliamp 4S in this one. This one we're running 2200 milliamp. So they're about the same speed. This one, of course, is a little bit faster and lighter, but you're gonna have to pay for that because of the instability from the waggle that happens at high speed. So here we're gonna get an airplane that you're gonna hand make. You're gonna make sure that you have all the sparring in there. You can see how stiff this EPP model is. Even with the battery in the bay, I can hold it right here, and it's extremely stiff, and it's very repairable as well. So, so I fly these all day long, so I'm very used to them. This is a nice, refreshing change to, you know, this one takes hours and hours and hours of building, but it's very rewarding, and it's going to reward you by, you know, if you take a small crash, it's not going to break. This one, unfortunately, you know, I haven't crashed it obviously, but unfortunately when this one crashes, you're going to see some significant damage. So, and I would think that these kits are actually about the same cost. It's just that this one comes all up ready to fly, and this one you're going to need to put your servos into, you're going to have to buy your motor, all that stuff. So, that being said, this is actually a pretty darn good deal. You've got installed LEDs, you've got some decent servos, you've got the EFX Racer motor in here, and I think it's a 50 amp ESC. Now I haven't done the amp draw with the prop they sent me, but I am going to get a new prop, the 5x45, the 5x5x45. God, I can't think about that. But I'm going to get that other prop in here, and I'm just going to keep this as a fun kite hill airplane. I'm probably going to throw some FPV in it because it is really fun to fly around Kite Hill. So, all right, tell me what you guys think. If you have any comments about it, let me know in the comment section. But overall, like, if I were to buy this again, you know, is this a fun airplane? Yes. Is it a racer? No. Is it fast? Yes. Again, so I would say up to about 100 miles an hour. It's pretty much you can take it from the box and fly it within a few minutes of buying it, which is kind of unheard of, you know, especially in the wing world. So, I think this is a good stab. I think this is a good first effort by Hobby King of kind of getting a faster wing together. That's kind of an everyday person's wing to get together. but it's gonna have that wobble section, like when you get up to about 105 ish miles an hour, it's gonna start to flex in the center. So that is gonna, if you're a racer and that's what you need, this is just not gonna be the wing for you. But it is really fun, and it flies true and straight. So I've got to give Hobby King kudos for that. I'm gonna keep this airplane. This is gonna be one of my personal ones. 7 Demo 7, of course, and Monster Energy Green. It's more. I'm so glad that they had all the different colors to go by here. And just to show you some of the other color combos that you can do. And I was actually thinking about doing, just cutting up a bunch of the different colors and making like the rainbow design. But this is basically, we've got the green that I put on. It's got yellow, blue, and red, and silver. Silver's down on the ground, so you actually have quite a few different choices for that. So to Hobby King, thank you so much for this airplane. They didn't send it to me, I bought it, but thank you for designing the airplane, and thank you, Stuart Warren. I think you guys did a really good job. It's just not going to be that 100 plus mile an hour airplane. It's really good at about 100 miles an hour, which is still screaming. I mean, let me tell you guys, the guys up at Kite Hill were just like, that is a fast wing, and to get wings going up that fast, it's actually quite challenging to design them right. Like I said, this one flies great. So let me just take a quick peek at your guys' comments here. I'm gonna flip the camera around here, see if there's any comments. That is. All right, so let's turn the camera around here, straighten up the camera here. All right. Oops, sorry. Yeah, we don't have a lot of comments at this point. So I figure, we actually had a lot of people watching the Maiden, which is pretty cool. The wings, Lauren, are not detachable, and when I did my unboxing, this is actually one of the biggest boxes I've ever gotten from any manufacturer for any plane, even my Trojan over there, which was a big box. But this is all a single molded piece. So there's no seams in here. There's no center section seams. It comes out of the box like this. The only thing that's detached is the spin, and the servo covers are not attached, and also the links. So that's all you have to do. You have to glue this in place, put the links on. You have to glue these magic patches here, these little reinforcing plastic pieces. So it comes out of the box like this. You pop the prop on, you throw in your receiver, you check all your control surfaces, and you're basically ready to fly. And I should mention the batteries that I was using. Now, during my maiden flight, I thought that this 2200 milliamp battery pack, these are the Nanotechs. These are 2200 milliamp 4S, 45 to 90 C discharge. This is considered one of the high discharge LiPo batteries. So I thought this was actually nose heavy, but it seemed like it was just on the mark. It didn't seem like it was nose heavy or tail heavy. So you can easily run a 2200 in there. I talked to Matt Ogborn. Thanks, Matt, for the advice. He had an 1800 in his, but he had the Run Cam 2 on the top of his canopy. So he said it flew just fine. So I was actually not too worried about it being too nose heavy. I was worried about it, but then once I started flying it, it was just fine. And actually, I put that up reflex into the elevons to start with. I actually had to take that out when I was flying. So it has a little bit of a natural up curve at the very edge of the airfoil. So I don't think you actually need any up reflex whatsoever. So anyway, guys, with that, I'll talk to you guys later. I think it's a good wing. I'm gonna get the proper prop for it and maybe do an FPV maiden pretty soon. But thanks for joining me, everyone, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.